I don't understand maps. Try, just make me hold the map. Hi, Zizaran here, and I wanted to make a real quick video on how map drops work and just a very common thing that people fuck up a lot. And if people want like a more in-depth map video, if there's a lot of requests for that in the comments, I will make that. The number one thing that people fuck up, well, there's a lot of people that would, for example, be mapping with all their watchstones in. The most important thing is this here, highlight maps. So if you search, for example, for tier 16s, these are the ones that can drop. So you can manipulate exactly what you want to drop quite a lot. So I'll give you a quick example. And Hayward Hamlet is very popular to farm, right? So we just throw these in here. Boom. Now, if I search for tier 16 maps, you can see that these 4 are highlighted. So let's whip out Notepad so I can explain better. So right now, we have tower, we have cells, we have mineral pools, and we have chateau. When you're in a tier 14, bosses can drop tier 16s, or if you're in a tier 15, then blue monsters can drop these tier 16s, or if you're in a tier 16, then they can drop these. So even if I'm, for example, doing a level tier 16 Mudgeister, I wouldn't be able to drop another tier 16 Mudgeister. If you can't see it on your atlas, you can't drop it. With some very few exceptions that aren't worth mentioning for new players. Like, for example, at Ziri. Outside of exceptions, this is generally always the rule. So this is really good now. And then if I do add the watchstone here, then you can see that we have a lot more tier 16s that can drop. So now I can also drop Mudgeiser and I can drop Residence. Now, if I'm doing one of these 4, I can't drop an Alleyways and I can't drop a Crystal Ore because they haven't been completed, right? They haven't been completed. Now, if I'm doing a Mudgeiser, then I can drop Alleyways. But at least for now, this is basically what I can drop by doing these 4. And I'll do a quick explanation of how favorite map drops work as well. So right now I have Defiled Cathedral as my favorite map drop. But let's say that I put Mineral Pools as my favorite map drop. It would basically do this. There. And that's just by favoring it once. Now, favoriting, it just adds more to the pool of droppable maps, so you're more likely to get that maps. It doesn't actually make you get any more maps. So let's say, for example, that there was only one tier 16 unlocked, and I favorited it 3 times. Well, nothing else would happen, right? But I think this region, turns in, has 2 tier 16s. I don't actually think there is one with only 1 right now. And then if we triple favorited it, it would look like this. So the game would go, okay, a tier 16 map dropped. Is it a tower, a cells, a mineral pools, or a mineral pool, mineral pool, right? So you're very likely to get the mineral pools. Let's keep explaining a little bit more. So if you have a full watchstone and you're mapping at awakening level 8, you have loads of tier 16s. You have an absolute shit ton. And right now, like if I'm mapping like this, I literally can't drop low level maps at all. Like I'm not going to drop tier 1 maps. They just won't happen. So it can be very easy to fuck this up. And like sometimes, say you're farming tier 9s, right? And if you don't have a tier 10 searchable on your atlas, they cannot drop whatsoever. They've removed an older mechanic where if you had no tier 16s on your atlas and you dropped a tier 16, a tier 15 would drop, or a 14 or a 10. It would just go down until droppable. That's no longer the case. It now gets something called map equity, which is far too complicated. That's like betrayal level complicated. But it's very common just to not know if you can't search it, you can't drop it. And that's very important. We can give some more like actual like workable examples. So I was farming like this quite a lot, where I would have my awakening level very high because, you know, there are boosts, right? You get benefits from awakening level, like higher chance for things to happen and the boss to drop good uniques. And right now, that means that I can't drop tier 1 maps. I can't drop tier 2. I can't drop 3. I can't drop 4. I can't drop 5. I can drop 6. If a tier 6 drops, it is always going to be Defiled Cathedral. If I drop 7, it's between those. If I drop tier 8, it is going to be Desert. And if I do tier 9, it is going to be a Chateau. And I have no tier 10s dropping right now. Literally none. Again, it's building up map equity. So when you then put in a tier 10, like now I have built up some map equity and I'm very likely to drop, say I ran a bunch of maps, I would be fairly likely to drop a tier 10, but that doesn't really matter. But now I can't drop tier 9s, but I can drop 10s, 11s, 12s, and I have no 13s. So again, if you really want to make sure that you can drop every tier, you don't want anything to like go to waste, then you can have one region with 1 stone, one with 0, one with 2, one with 3, and one with 4. Then you're covering all tiers, and when you're searching through the atlas like this, there should be maps highlighting at every single tier. But for example, see, Mud Geyser exists as a tier 12, right? That is a tier that it exists at. But when my atlas looks like this, nothing can cause a tier 12 Mud Geyser to drop. If I'm farming a tier 12 Mud Geyser with my atlas looking like this, it cannot drop another one. So this is just the thing I wanted to really highlight. I wanted to highlight the highlight function. So just use this and make sure that you are dropping. And I've even fucked up this sometimes in the start of a league and be like, dude, I'm actually not getting a tier 10. I'm like, fuck, I actually don't have a tier 10 droppable. So just make sure that you pay attention to what highlights on the atlas. This is very, very important. So yeah, that's pretty much the shortest I can do that. If people want like a more in-depth, like 20-30 minute atlas guide, I could make an updated version for that if there is a lot of requests for it. So just wanted to make a quick one with the highlight reel, and hope you guys are enjoying the videos. Hope you guys are enjoying Expedition. Sub if you like the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.